Thank you, Westmoreland County. Thank you. Who's ready to put Donald Trump and J.D. Vance back in the White House? All right, and who is ready to retire Bob Casey and send Chuck Schumer packing? And who's ready to watch the Steelers kick a little ass tomorrow night against the New York Jets? Well, I want to say something which you've heard before, but I want you to think about it this time, which is this is the most important election of our lifetimes. It really is. For you people that have been around for a while, think of every election in your lifetime. Think of one where the consequences of getting it wrong seem so great, where the risk of losing the America we love seems so strong. I mean, think about it. We're in decline. We're in spiritual decline. We see these kids marching on campus, spouting out all these horrible anti-Semitic things, anti-Jewish, anti-American. And you say, my God, how could that happen? And then you watch those college presidents testifying. Everybody see those college presidents testify? Twisting themselves into pretzels not to say what's right or wrong or good or evil. And you say, that's how it happened. The lack of leadership, the lack of moral clarity. This economy is killing working families in Pennsylvania. 60% live paycheck to paycheck. Prices spiraling out of control. Groceries, 20%. Rent, 22%. Electricity, 35%. Fuel, 50%. All because of the reckless policies of Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and Bob Casey. 100% vote for all these policies. We see the border, wide open border. Known convicted murderers and rapists coming across our border. We see 4,000 fentanyl deaths in Pennsylvania alone, all due to the open border policies of Biden, Harris, Casey, sanctuary cities, no border, no funding for the Border Patrol, no wall. We see law and order spiraling out of control in our cities. This is why 80% of Pennsylvanians, 80% of Americans think our country is going in the wrong direction. This is the most important election of our lifetimes. And we got a big choice in front of us. It shouldn't be a hard choice. You can choose strength, the guy that put his fist in the air and said, fight, fight, fight. Or you can choose weakness of Biden, Harris, and Casey that has made us the punching bag of the world. You can choose common sense policies to get our country back on track. It's common sense to reduce our spending and bring down inflation. It's common sense to open up our energy sector, that beautiful natural gas under the ground. It's common sense to make it easier for our industrial manufacturers, our steel mills to prosper. Here in Pennsylvania, it's common sense to bring law and order to our cities. It's common sense that we'll have peace through strength in the world. Or you can pick a radical, liberal San Francisco agenda that's going to take our country over the cliff, and we'll wake up one morning and we won't recognize the America we love. That's the choice. That's the choice. And that's why it's so imperative that we support, we get out the vote, and we elect Donald Trump. And that's why it's so imperative that we replace Bob Casey. Now listen, let's replace Bob Casey. Let's clap on that one. Now, I'm a seventh-generation Pennsylvanian. My dad was born in Indiana County. My mom was born in Punxsutawney. I like to say that because it reminds me of Punxsutawney Bob. My opponent only pops his head out every 6 years. I was born in Washington County. I grew up in Columbia County in Bloomsburg. Played sports, wrestled, played football, went to West Point where I wrestled. Ranger School, 82nd Airborne Division, combat tour in Iraq. Any paratroopers here? And my opponent was born with a political spoon in his mouth, right? He's a 30-year career politician. When the bullets start flying, Bob Casey ducks. And when there's a vote to vote, he votes 100% of the time for the radical liberal agenda of Casey and Biden. So we need new leadership in the Senate to put in place common sense policies under President Trump to get our country back on track. And I'll end, because this is wrestling country right here. This is wrestling country in Pennsylvania, right? And in wrestling, when I was in college, I always knew that if I could get in the third period, I wasn't always the best wrestler, but if I could get into the third period within a point or two, I would win. And you know why? Because the third period in wrestling has nothing to do with wrestling. It's all about mental toughness. It's all about heart. It's all about staying on offense. It's all about fighting till the end, which is what we need you to do every day until November 5th when we take back our country. God bless you, Westmoreland County. God bless America. Let's make Pennsylvania great again. Thank you.